Welcome to the Community Hotline, presented by 88 Real Estate Media. I am your host, Mr. Bob Fang, and today we have diversity, unity, and harmony.
Hello, hello, hello.
So,
Hi. Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate you very much, Bobby Fang.
of course. Uh, well, give us a little intro, give us a little background.
My name is Diversity, Unity, Harmony. I accepted that name one day under meditation. I hope everybody out there wants to meditate. I am a singer, songwriter, artist, video director, editor, nerd, tech lover. Also super hippie. I love meditating and hugging trees. I'm a Scorpio. I'm into astrology. I dance. I sing. I act. Anything that has to do with performing arts and just expressing myself as freely as possible, I'm into it. Also, freelance physicist, quantum physicist, whenever I get 5 seconds to like get over the fact that I just have this mushy little brain that keeps slowing down every day. I'm a
Quant-
dreamer. Did I
quant-
answer the question? Yeah.
yes, what quantum physicist? Was science your strongest subject in school?
No, language arts was. But I wasn't I loved science in the sense that it was the only chance that I had to kind of touch the things that make reality.
Mm.
But I like language arts because we could tell stories and I was like telling stories. I was very, very, very bad at math. Actually, recently started learning how to divide things into halves. So I mean, I'm really bad at math. I still use my fingers, so that's okay, right?
Of course. And the next step would be percentages.
Yeah, well, let's hold on. I have different lifetimes for that one, I think.
Let's start with our first topic of the day, which is money.
Money, 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 money.
What is money?
What
What is
is
diversity?
money? Money is okay, so there's a few ways I like to explain it. On a more esoteric way, money is an exchange of currency. Currency being that I'm an electric being, you're an electric being, and my heart stops, it needs to get a pump, right? To an AED, and a defibrillator to pump my heart back into. I need, electricity to wake me up, right?
Yeah.
So when you do an exchange of currency, which is current, money is an exchange of that, an exchange of an electrical kind of signal. Some people think money is not just a piece of paper, it could be a Bitcoin, it could be a digital currency, it could be a favor, just an exchange of goods and services, would be the best way that I could explain money. In a more physical way, yeah, it's a piece of paper. We're going into more digital now, but it's a piece of paper or coin or something, some sort of valuable gem of some sort, or that you can exchange with another person. It's an
Okay.
exchange.
Give the kids options right now. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. What has you
All
has
the things I
your
just said.
has your understanding of money changed from now from when you were in high school?
Uh, well, yeah, of course. I feel like in high school, I didn't really think too much about money. Not because we didn't have it, not because we did have it, but it was more of I wanted it to be, it was, money for me wasn't necessarily the goal. It was trying to, fit in with my friends. And in high school is when I started becoming a singer, actually. I was really late in expressing myself artistically. I was really shy as a kid. So I was always in books. I wasn't really like extroverted. I'm still not an extrovert. I'm a huge introvert, which is always a surprise to people. Uh, but yeah, money was always just something that like came and went. It wasn't really the goal. It was more about how can I best express myself and then how to learn. Learning was my money. I wanted to learn. I still love learning so much. I always have like 6 books I'm reading at the same time. Sure, I was ADD and still am, but it was before, for my generation, it was a time where ADD wasn't a bad thing. It was actually mean that you were a gifted child, that you're a person that can hop from one thing to another, and that was great. You were efficient and you can absorb things.
No,
So
no,
now
not at
it's
all.
a different mentality.
I love that. Okay, so I guess what did you spend most of your money on in high school then? Did you have
Um,
did you have a job or get an allowance, or how did that work?
I didn't have a job. I didn't have an allowance. Actually, I did have a little gig when I was my dad was in telecommunications and he brought cell phones over to Miami. I was raised in Miami, Florida, and he brought cell phones to Miami, and it was these big things. It was before T-Mobile, so it was Voice Stream. I'm totally aging myself right now. Google it, kids. And it was this block phone. It was massive. And it was my little gig and I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed the discipline of it. I had to show up at a certain time. I had to, this was my break. I couldn't do what I wanted. I had to be available. I had to be nice and sweet to people that I didn't like being nice and sweet to because they were strangers, and like stuff like that, customer service. Um, but I learned, and then I took that into my creativity later because I was able to bring in that kind of authenticity into my acting and into my writing.
Okay, okay. So you were helping your dad with
It
his
was a
cell
little
phone blocks?
company, yeah.
Little cell phone blocks? Okay, and then so what did you spend most of your money on then back
Oh, honestly, I think what I spent the most on was, oh, probably it was dresses and heels and makeup. It
then?
was Yeah, I didn't have a wig collection yet, but oh yes, I was obsessed with stilettos. I was obsessed with them. I love stilettos so much. I think until maybe college is when I got over it because it became a thing. But it was really hard to find stilettos at that time because it was all about these really chunky heels, and I hated these like these chunky. I still do. I think they're just like, no offense, everybody, just chunky heels are just like live a little, snap your ankle a little. I love a fierce stiletto. So I would always try to find the most cutest stilettos and work them out. I think that's what I spent most of my money on.
I love that, I
I
love that.
don't advise that on anybody. Don't do
No,
that.
I don't think it's surprising, I don't think I've heard that answer before because most people they generally say I spend it on food. And,
I had food. I had food at home. My family took care of me. Yeah.
I had opulence in the food area, I needed
Yeah, yeah. My family was good. My family was good to me. They took care of me, and I hope everybody's family does that too, where minimum you had shelter and you had food. It wasn't as though the food you wanted to eat, whatever, but it was food. So you're like, whatever.
yes, I love it. Okay, let's move on to our second topic of the day, which is education.
Ooh, my favorite.
Yes, who were you in middle school and high school?
In middle school, I was in band and I played the bass clarinet and I was the girl was that was hung out with all of the different groups. Um I was a C student only because I was so caught up in talking to everybody. You know what I mean? I was always passing notes and stuff. I already knew what was going on in class. I didn't really I always aced the tests, but I didn't do homework. You know what I mean? So it wasn't that I was a bad student. I was actually I understood everything that was going on. I always knew the answer to stuff and I always helped my friends out with their tests and help them study. But being engaged in class wasn't that important. Which is something I don't think anybody should do because later that kind of discipline helps in life. You know what I mean? But I was really good at studying, and then in high school, I started getting into more music. And that was amazing because then I found a tribe. I started understanding that the performing arts existed, that I wasn't this weirdo that was always like expressive and stuff. I did hang out a lot with the misfits and the girls that and the boys that were not necessarily like too much because of whatever reason, whether it was a girl that some gossip went around that she was this and that, and I was like, girl, don't worry about that, like I'll be your friend, you know what I mean? But yeah, high school got a little funner because I got the chance to dive into the performing arts and I found a whole haven there. It was amazing. But I was again, uh, I would test into honors classes and then I'd be like, I'm not doing this. And then be like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea why I'm here. Get me out of here, please. I don't want to study this hard. You know, Even though I was reading college level textbooks at home for fun, you know what I mean? Like I was just like, I don't want to do this. Don't do that, kids. Don't beat me on that.
Did you
Setting.
did you feel a certain type of way like doing that transition from middle school to high school? Like, was there anxiety, or were you like super excited, or?
Well, I was really that's a great question. I was really, really, really lucky that where in Miami, the same high school, I mean the same elementary school I went to, middle school and high school, I had friends that we all went to all the same schools.
Mm.
So I had a lot of friends from elementary school. So every year you'd hear like the boys like, Michael here. And you're like, oh, excuse me, puberty. Like it's like, or they'd come with a little peach fuzz. But as far as anxiety and stuff like that went, of course, puberty sucks. There's nothing fun about puberty. Stuff starts growing and things start expanding and attention happens when you don't want attention. Um,
Can you
and
elaborate on that? What do you mean by that?
like, for example, for me, my boobs didn't come in, but I had a big old booty and I had big old thighs. And that's awesome. Sure. Now that I know what that means, but I was getting unwanted attention and I didn't like it. I was a shy kid. I would just want to be left alone. I was used to being the weirdo and the nerd and in my books kind of thing, like, don't talk to me. And I was getting all this attention from boys and it wasn't that I didn't like it. It was just, it wasn't nice. It wasn't like, hey, you're really pretty. They're like, damn girl. And I'm like, stop, go away. Like, mace them, like, go away. And then again, puberty, like, zits and smell. I smelled like peeled onions every 5 minutes, even though I would wear deodorant. I was like, I don't know, sweat and periods and just it was a lot. And so the anxiety of going from middle school to high school was just it wasn't necessarily a massive anxiety, but it was at times like, will they like me? Will they not like me? And I journaled a lot. I got depressed a lot too, but that's where like I got really into like No Doubt and like that kind of rocker music. And I was like, yeah, that's what I am. I'm a rocker. Yeah. And so I'd wear skater pants and Pumas even though I didn't skate.
I
And
love
try to, get into Nine Inch Nails and stuff. And I'd hang out with the weird kids that no one liked to hang out with, the Marilyn Manson kids too. And I'm like, yeah, you guys get me. I'm sad too. This sucks. Everything sucks. And it was just hormones. At the end of the day, it was just hormones. It wasn't even like it did suck. We were privileged children. We had food, we had shoes, we had everything we needed. But everything sucked because hormones. Hormones are a terrible, terrible thing. I highly suggest if there's any children out there that want to take a moment to study, neurobiology and understand that in chemistry on YouTube, it's really easy. Understand that you're just a product of your chemistry and your hormones, and that's all it was. I was just hormonal and PMSing, and you know,
I love that.
now I know it.
So funny. You were talking about like the whole transition through puberty. I guess what are some tips or educational advice you have for young girls who are going through, puberty, and what would you say to them, or what are some things they can
Uh,
expect,
they can
three
expect.
tips, top 3 tips.
Top 3 tips. Number 1, don't compare yourself. Stop doing that right away. You're lying to yourself. And if you lie to yourself, you hurt your own feelings. And when you hurt your own feelings, the only person that could say sorry is you. So stop doing that right now. Number 2, no, you don't need makeup. Absolutely not. you My mom told me this a long time ago. My friends used to wear makeup and I would try to like sneak in a lip liner, at the bus stop, trying to like get that in. And I don't know how my mom probably had like a sensor and she'd wake up to the bus stop. What's that? I'm like, nothing, nothing, mom, nothing. She's like, and this is what I tell you guys too, honestly. You only have this, you only have one skin. Don't depend on putting rat poisoning in your body to try to keep your face beautiful. Try to like stretch out the use on it. I know the eyelashes look great, but there's filters for that. I know that the eyeliner looks great, but there's filters for that. Don't worry about it. Like, just try to keep your face and your natural beauty as long as possible until you have to get paid to put on makeup, which is when you start entering the work world or whatever. Number 3, um, relationships, boys, all of that, girls and all the things in between is awesome, but you have a lifetime for that. Take this time to learn yourself. Take this time to journal and get to know yourself. Take this time to find crushes and crush hard. But then also know that you can get them if you wanted to. There's time for relationships. There's time to fall in love. There's Because the thing about falling in love is that there's this opportunity that you might get your heart broken, and life will do that all by itself. You don't have to rush into that when you're like, 12. Um, because again, hormones, right? Like, what is that? Like, hormones suck. Also, it's okay to have your period. It's okay to take a poop in school. It's okay to be funky. It's okay not to pluck your eyebrows. It's okay. You're okay. You're so allowed. You're so allowed, and there's space for you.
I love that. I love that. So
There's
wait,
space for you. You're allowed. You have permission. I've given you permission. Look at my name. I have given you permission.
in harmony. So wait, you think so? Girls, they're like self-conscious about having like their period.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Elaborate on this. What is that? Did you were you have a personal story about this?
Of course. I mean, there's a lot of things, obviously, but boys are always going to be like, "Ew, you have your period, ew," or you're sitting there in pain, feeling like, I don't know. It's likened to a boy getting their nuts like crushed every like 3 to 4 minutes, um, where you just want to lay down with a heating pad and not move. And things are coming out where they usually don't come out of. It's not pee or poo, and like it's terrible. And then not to mention there's this opportunity that you like could stain or something. I highly suggest everybody watch Big Mouth on Netflix. It's a really good show to kind of explain puberty, because then you have to shove things in there or wear like a little mattress pad and stuff, or like you know there's so many things that can happen, and people can be really mean about it. They could be really mean about something that you're going to be dealing with until at least hopefully 50. So you have this lifetime of it. It's going to happen every 28 to 30 days. You are in sync with the moon, queen. Like, the moon, you have a new moon and a full moon. Like, your period is in sync to that. You're in sync to the ocean. Like, you are a tide. Like, it happens. It's part of the reason why there's a lot of humans in this world. It's because of that. But people don't really talk about it. They think it's nasty and they think it's gross. I personally have had many opportunities of being stained and walking around with a massive blood stain on my butt, and no one told me until I get into the front of it. I'm like, I wonder if, and I go, I'm like, I'm sorry, like, damn. And you're all by yourself on that, and there's nothing really can do more than be like, yep, I'm menstruating. That's me. I mean, to this day, adult males will still be like, ew, I don't want to hear about periods. And you're like, come on, dude. Like, yeah, I know it sucks. We bleed for the rest of our lives. It sucks.
Oh man, I love
You
that.
guys have nocturnal emissions if you don't pull on it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate.
Sorry, guys.
I hope the youth, really took that in. Once again, I just want to reiterate, you are accepted, right?
Yeah,
Everyone has
yes.
this. Yes. And moving on with that to the last topic of the day, which is love. Let's play a chord. What is
I
love?
love love. What is love? Love is everything. Love is life. Love is absolutely everything.
Who was your
Love is everything.
Who was your first love?
My first love was
Hey.
my first love. Who is my first love? My first love was me. I fell in love with myself. I think when in senior year of high school, I had braces, and I was in the performance arts and everything, and I took my senior year picture with like this with my braces, and I was like, I'm a flash my grill, yo. And then after that, I think my first love was this bass player called Lucas Curtis. He's real famous now, and yeah, I fell in love, as far as like I was completely enamored with the idea of like, this is it, this is my boo, we finna have babies, this is what I'm doing, like we're in. And it didn't happen. I got my first kiss when I was 18. So Yeah, I know. Guys, like I said, there's space for you. It's okay if there's no rush, in other words, because now at my age, I'm still like, you know, how do you call it? Like new. Yeah.
Wait,
I have not used that. You know what I mean? I'm not used and I'm not abused and I'm not like, this car is still like new, it's everything is still brand new to me. And I love that because you're stretching out the experience, you're not just this like, I've done it all, whatever, like a lot of my friends at this age. No offense to everybody that's done nothing, I'm just saying.
so tell us about your first kiss experience. How did it happen? Who was it
Oh
with?
my God. Okay. So my first kiss, I was 18. I had braces. And it was a b-boy. He was a break dancer. And we went to he asked me out on a date. And I was like, me? What? Okay, all right, I'm gonna date with you, sure. And so we went into the movies and and after we were done, I was just kind of like hanging out. And I had the elastics
Mm,
tying the teeth.
yeah.
Yeah. And he kind of turns over to me and he kind of sits there and he's like, and and I'm like, what? What? And he's like, is it okay if I kiss you? And I which I'm really into consent, everybody. To this day, I tell people, I'm like, ask, just ask. There's no, don't assume. And can I say ask? Yeah. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Don't assume. Consent is sexy. Every time someone asks, I'm like, we okay. So I was really happy that he asked. And I was like, okay. But I forgot about my elastics.
Okay.
So he comes over for a kiss. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna be open mouth kiss. Oh, okay. All right. So I went in for an open mouth kiss and like I open my mouth and it's like pop the elastics. And I was like, yeah, I'm a nerd. Yeah. Can we try this again? Take two. Oh. And he obviously like thought it was endearing and needless to say, like 3 weeks later I lost my virginity too. But like I was like, look, I'm going to college. Let's get this done with. Like I'm 18, I'm of age. You know what I mean? Like please, somebody, anybody. Like at
First
this
kiss
point,
in 3 weeks. She's like, I'm going straight on the beeline to it.
again, I was 18. So just saying, I felt like I was at an age where I can make these decisions and I didn't feel pressured. I didn't feel pressured by my friends. And it was surprising when I went back to, you know, school and I was like, oh my God, you guys, I just got my first kiss. You guys just got my first kiss. And they're like, what? Seriously? I thought you would like had your first kiss because the way you are and all. I'm like, I hang out with friends that have gotten their first kiss and their first baby already. Like I know a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that I was like that kind of girl. So
I
yeah,
love
it's
that.
okay to be that kind of girl, y'all. It's okay to be, really social and fun and available for friends, but then also like there's no rush to really life is longer than you think. So there's really no rush. I know what Megan the Stallion tells you to do. And I was back in the day, there was a thing called twerking, called booty dancing, right? And that they used to call me booty freak because we used to like, booty dance a whole lot. That's called twerking. And people thought that I was really sexually active because of the way I moved, and that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? So I know what these artists kind of put out there that says that you got to be a certain way, but you could still be a certain way and still be like, you know, a person that is in no rush trying to open up your body and yourself to everybody. I always tell this real quick. I always tell everybody, I'm like letting somebody into your body, whether it's their tongue or whether it's everything else, is for a woman, it's so special because like I can't get inside of me the way a man can. I put my finger in my nose, I put my finger in my ear, but that's really it. But the way a man does is like, and there's not a lot of animals in the natural animal kingdom that even do it the way that humans do. So it's a very vulnerable place and it's a very special place and that should be honored and that should be cherished. And like a woman has all of the power to be able to say, I know what I'm doing here because the attachment is so intense and heartbreak sucks. It sucks more than puberty. So like there's no rush, you know what I mean? And when you do want to do it with someone that you like you want to be around with for a while, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of stuff that comes with it.
Wise
Not
words
just
from
pregnancy.
diversity, unity, and harmony. Let's change gears a bit. So we were talking about, the type of love that you have for others. Let's move on to the type of love that you have for your parents. I know a lot of students that they have a difficult time communicating with their dad or with their mom. Like they're just like, "Mom, she doesn't understand me," or "Dad, I can't talk to him." And I guess the question would be, what is your relationship with your parents like? And then what did you ever have experiences like that where you felt like you couldn't communicate with them?
Oh yeah. I mean to this day. Here's the thing. Your parents have no idea what they're doing. Let's just start there. No idea. If I gave you a puppy right now, you probably play with the puppy a little bit, probably feed it sometimes if you remember, but like most of the time you have no idea what the puppy needs, what the puppy wants. The parents have no ideas what they're doing either. So yes, absolutely. My mom, I hated her. I hated her. I hated my dad, but it wasn't necessarily my dad or my mom. I hated everything because puberty sucks. I hated everything, you know? Um, but I think my mom, she my relationship with my mom during my puberty days were very hard because she wouldn't let me go out with my friends because all my friends were more promiscuous than I was. And uh they did drugs, you know what I mean? And I did it, but I didn't care about that. I wasn't gonna do it. I didn't want to. I just wanted to hang out with my friends.
Right.
Um I I think more than anything, your parents always try to like watch out for you and watch your six. They see the every time I was like, "Can I sleep over at my friend's house? Let me talk to the mom." I'm like, "Oh, mom, I want some pepper." My dad wasn't around too much. He was too busy, working and setting up technical things and opening up new businesses constantly all over the world, and that was awesome, but unfortunately that really didn't give me an opportunity to have a great relationship with him. Not because he was mean or anything, I just didn't know him.
Mm,
But I did have a cool stepdad. My stepdad was young, he was cool, he was quiet, he was kind of like, yo, you know you need me to beat anybody up, I'll beat anybody up, but like, you're all right. But my mom was always very really honest. Her biggest thing was, um don't get a job. Focus on your career. Focus on what makes you happy. Like whatever you do, if you get a job, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna spend all this time doing something that's not gonna bring you anything. So what do you want to do? And if that's the case, go focus on that as long as you need to. And I wanted to sing, and I wasn't a great singer because I was, but I had a good ear. And she was like, "Great, go do that. Go focus on that as much as possible. Whatever you do, don't just get a job because that's what society wants you to do, which is fine. But when you're in your 20s, you're going to miss out. When you're in your early teens, you're going to miss out on all this energy that you have. Later, you're not going to wanna.
mm,
Um, but my mom was cool. She got it. She understood. She let me do cool things like have like sleepovers with boys and girls sometimes, but she'd always like keep an eye out. But your parents have no idea what's going on. They're trying their best. They don't know what a TikTok is. They don't know what an Instagram is. They don't know what a Facebook is. They're too worried. Huh?
your mom's not on Facebook?
Yeah, she is, but only because I sat there and was like, "Mom, like, you know?
I don't like.
Like, Mom, get on Facebook. God." And she's like, "All right." And she hates it because she has to learn all this stuff. But I think eventually, hopefully, everybody gets the opportunity to understand that you understand your parents have no idea what they're doing. But yeah, I got into fights with them all the time. I hated my mom so much. I hated her so much. She never understood me and all this stuff. But it was because I was just uncomfortable because puberty.
How do you,
Puberty sucks.
how do young girls deal with their moms then while they're going through puberty?
Um, Girl, I don't know. It's gonna be hard. Here's the thing. Your mom is gonna focus on making sure you don't get pregnant um too young because I don't think any mother is in a rush to be a grandma yet. Um They want you to be a successful woman. They want you to get a chance, you know. They want you to live your fullest potential. She held you for 9 months, and in those 9 months she dreamt the biggest dreams for you, you know. For boys too, you know. And now there's a society where you could be whatever you want, and people are fighting for that, and it's like the first thing your mom is going to try to do is protect you. Um, Even if she doesn't look like she does, everybody has their own way of doing showing love, right? Love languages, right? And you might love differently, but I think the best way to get around it is uh, Google compassion.
No, I'm puberty right now. I'm hate everything.
Honestly, dude, it's the truth. Google compassion, understand it. Compassion is understanding that, you know, having a moment and sitting down and understanding what the other person on the other side of the table is going through. Which is very hard because when you're going through puberty, you can't because you're hormonal and all you know is what you're feeling. And you're probably feeling like either humping everything, fighting everything, eating everything, or sleeping it all away, you know? Um, Also just like, you know, try to really take advantage of this time that you have. So if you can, if with your parents specifically, they're going to get older real fast, just like you are, but you're still caught up in this beginning of your new life, but they're kind of ending theirs a little bit. So kind of hang out with your parents as much as you can, try to get some, I know, but try to cue John Mayer stop this train, right? um Google it, but like try to get some wisdom off of them, you know, even if you don't agree, even if what they're talking about happened literally in the 80s. um just understand that what they're talking about is the beginning of how it ended up where we are now, so you can kind of get the understanding of like the where the mentality came from. You know, my dad is 87 years old. My mom is 60 now. So I I hated my father because he was an extremely racist man. But I understood where it came from because I'm not going to excuse it at all, but there was an understanding of like that was society. That wasn't anything special. That was just normal. You know what I mean? So um there wasn't any like I choose to be a racist. It was like no, that's just the way it was. So understanding where things kind of come from and how where we are now, you cherish more the work that's been done, but also you can understand them a little better so that when you see tendencies of that behavior in you, because genetics, right? Google genetics, everybody. um
No, my emotions, puberty. Oh, I don't want to.
your parents went through their own version of it. So understand that and kind of try to get as much wisdom as you can from that. Because there's the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is just like you read it, but wisdom is application of that and the trials and tribulations that you came from that. So understanding it, even though it's coming from a different time and a different mindset and it's way behind and it's super condensed and small and simple versus this like they didn't have the World Wide Web. They had the Encyclopedia Britannica. They didn't have YouTube. They had whatever, you know, the learning channel, whatever cable gave them. I mean, like it was so small and simple versus this like abundance we have now. So it's not their fault, and also it's just like it, you know, puberty sucks. Sorry guys, puberty freaking sucks. And it, honestly, no one's going to tell you this, but puberty is really going to end till like when you're about like 27, 28 almost.
That's a long time.
Yeah, because then like later you get into your man woman weight, and then like, you know, women, your voice drops. I remember I lost my voice for like 3 weeks, and all of a sudden I didn't have this like super high little girl voice. I had like this woman voice, you know. No one told me women's voice changes. Then you get this woman weight, men get this man weight, you know, but that comes like that doesn't come at 18. That comes like 25, 26, 27. You know, you get this man weight on you, like you solid, you know.
You
So
stop.
I'm just saying that you're not really done till like 2029, unfortunately, guys. So
I love it. I
you're in
love
it
it.
for
All
a
right. Last question. Last question of the day. Nate, what is one defining moment in your life, and how did it impact you?
one defining moment of my life was um oh my god, that's a great question. So many have happened. but I think the biggest one was, well, I'll share. I'll be super honest. When I was, I think 19, maybe, no, 18, 17 years old, I was really, really depressed, and I got in a really big fight with my sister, and I popped her nose. There was blood everywhere. And I thought it was a really good idea to take every medicine in the medicine cabinet and take it all, because I was like, I don't want to live anymore, you know? Because I didn't know what that meant, to be honest with you. I just watched TV and that's what they said, right? And I ended up in the hospital, and they pumped my stomach, and it was terrible because I'd never been naked in front of everybody, and I was naked in front of like 10 guys, which is like the nurses, and they were just ripping my clothes off, and I felt very violated, and I was very sad, and I was like, very, it was a very terrible thing. And then they put you in a hospital for 3 days, because they need to get like a state mandate. So I was surrounded by real crazy people, actual crazy people, that like really was scary. And I think that moment when my mom came to see me, and she looked at me, she was like, what is so terrible about your life that you think that it's worth ending, or like that you would even do something so freaking stupid, you know?" And I was like, and I really took that moment. I realized I'm like, nothing, nothing at all. Like, it could be difficult and it could be easy sometimes, but nothing is worth the coldness of the ground. Nothing is worth not being here to to do like to do. Like, I tell people, I'm like, you want to know the meaning of life? Fine. This is the meaning of life. This is the meaning of life. I get to do this. I get to move something from here to there. I get to change the inertial potential of something. When I'm not here, you can't do that, you know? And that's just that simple. So when I was in that place, I think then I went off to college. Then I was surrounded by like tribe. That's when I drove more into music and like everything. But having that really low point, to this day, even if I have a terrible, terrible low point, I still remember that. And I'm like, there's nothing worth that at all. I don't care how bad it is, because there's always literally a moment after. So that was the biggest defining. Was that dark? I'm a Scorpio. Google it.
Another chord. Yes. And that wraps it up, guys. Any last words? Where can people find you?
Oh yeah, Instagram, diversity.unity.harmony. I have to request you because I made it private. um, and I'm on Spotify if you want to hear some fierce music. I'm on YouTube too, just diversity, unity, harmony. Get into it. That's my goal. I just want everybody to say those words.
Diversity, unity. All right, let me play a chord. Diversity, unity, harmony. Hey, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you guys for so much for hanging out with us.
Diversity, unity, harmony. Hey.
Ah.